Good evening, everybody. Hope audio is all right, because I didn't test it out at all. Seems like we're in order. All right, we're back. It's the Grace Eternicals. God damn it! All right, back into the screen. Thank you for the dabs, Marvin. It's a good tradition. Alright, we left off actually in this very room. I guess something's going on that Susato is master planning, and Herlock Sholmes seems to be involved in this plan. We saw him promise Susato that he would do everything as planned, and he would do something for her. Meanwhile, unfortunately, Miss Susato is needing to go back to Japan. We'll see how that works out. Alright. Let's just get right into it. Oh god. I just realized that there are like two characters that we saw like 2 or 3 episodes ago. Was it 2 episodes ago? That never... Well, I mean, by episodes, I mean, in the game, not the streams. It was like maybe 5 or 6 streams ago, I want to say, where we saw 2 characters outside of an apartment, or a flat, and, they were completely unique. I struggled coming up with voices for them at the time, and then they never appeared again. So I can only assume that they will have something to do with this last case, because I don't see why they would introduce them if they didn't have anything to do with anything ever again. But maybe I'll see. For all I know, they'll be in the jury this time. Maybe that's where they'll show up. Alright, sorry. Into the game. When I awoke the following morning, Sato-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. And so began an even longer day than the last. One that I would remember for the rest of my days. That sounds dramatic. Oh, we're already here in the Bailey. The old Bailey, in fact. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend then? Sorry? You know, in the fancy dress. Susato, or however you say it. I don't know. Miss Susato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Sato and I won't meet again one day. Even so. But you, Gina, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. Is it Iris or is it Sherlock? Or is it Herlock? Good morning, you two. How you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep? Oh, she has. Wait, what's his name? Wagahashi? Hagawashi? Iris, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? Ow. Oh, that's about what a cat does. That was an accurate looking cat thingy. Oh, Waggy! Great way to show your support, kitty. I'm having those around. What harm can it do? Oh, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now,
Would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Runo? Ginny?
Well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first.
Nah. Always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. You might not live to hear the bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities.
Let's not go there.
Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move.
Huh? The bad news was the weather report?
So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover, that the train... So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover, and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port.
Gosh, yes.
Alright then, so it's good news. Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. So even if the train's delayed, it should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it? I couldn't give a monkeys, really.
If only all good news cancelled out the bad.
And look, this trial has made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. See? I like that. Well, let them say what they want. See if I care.
I can't, because you're covering your face.
Don't worry. Runo will soon show everyone that this headline is nonsense.
Well?
And then, in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be... Discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Runo?
Oh, yes, let's hope so.
Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How's that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it?
It's like she was still here. Oh, jeez. Aww. Today's paper has been entered in the court record. Oh, so it's in the court record, is it? If it's in the court record...
Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can.
I feel like my voices for these two girls are like... They're all over the place. I'm sorry. We already have an omnibus murder thingy here. That was already in the court record. What about today's paper? Ooh, there's stuff.
Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. How awful. For Ginny, I mean.
But tomorrow's headline will be Discharged Diver's Dauntless Do-Gooder, right?
Yes, something like that. If possible, I'd like to go even bigger.
Bigger? How? Proud
pickpocket protects planet post-trial. Perhaps?
Protects planet?
Ooh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's going to be so great.
Okay. All this is a single thing. Yeah, the image and the portrait are both the same. Aha! Wait a minute. There we go. What does this look like? Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Hello.
There's a sensational story lower down the front page as well. Look. Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice.
For a 10-year-old, Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of world news.
It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently, they're being intercepted by hostile nations.
Communications are being intercepted? But how would somebody be doing that?
That's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Are you looking for a new career, Runo?
No, of course not. I wonder. Perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday.
Yes, it could be, and it could explain why he has Gregsy running from pillar to post at the moment.
Nice. Alright, so we have an article about government secrets being leaked to foreign agencies. That sounds like the Hound of the Baskervilles has something to do with it. There isn't anything inside the center of this thing, right? Oh, hey Maria. Long time no see in one of our streams. Welcome back. I don't know if you've been following along with this game and what we've been playing, but it's where we're on the final trial.
Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still.
Ah!
I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you more support and encouragement.
Oh, is she gonna be in the stand with me? It'd be so sick if she stood there next to me. She'd be like Pearl. Ah, yes, school. School is a harsh mistress. Well, hope you're doing well in school, Maria. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but thank you, Iris. It's very kind of you.
Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Ginny? Well, I was wondering is all about Sholmes. They fixed him up all right. Yes, the operation was a great success, but Hurley still hasn't come around yet. Eh? I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up.
I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news.
Oh, right.
No Sato-san and no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today, to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. There's Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. The trial's about to begin. Please make your way into the courtroom.
It's time then.
Yes. Let's go, Gina. Iris.
Lead the way, Runo.
Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. What a cool guy this guy is. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. Okay, how many voices am I gonna have to invent for this courtroom of people? The jury is always new people. Oh god. Oh no. Oh wait, one of them's recognizable. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. This trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Zeeks. My lord. Remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly. And here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Really? Yet today you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are two types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large.
He means Mr. McGilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago.
Yes, I just about managed to work that out. Thank you. Yes, Maria, I do know Naruto to an extent. I used to read the manga, and I watched the show up until the great ninja war got restarted up again. Like, that's about where I dropped off. So, yeah, I didn't see the end of it. All I know is that Sasuke is a jerk, and he doesn't deserve any forgiveness. Thank you very much. Magnus be gilded. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him.
And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East, the Nipponese.
Oh god, he's coming after Japan. What? Did you really just say that?
He means you now, Runo.
I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zeek's eyes. Was that directed solely at me? Or was he talking about all Japanese people? Oh my god, this is getting so, like, directly, like, racially charged. This is getting uncomfortable, man.
An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zeeks. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial.
Oh god, here they are. Oh wait, some of these people are the same. Eh? Are they the same people? Like, there are 2 people that I don't recognize, but 2 of the character models are very similar. That doctor looks like the same green-coated man from the last case. And that other lady with the telegraph looks like the typist from 2 cases ago. And the maid I'm pretty sure we've seen before. And there's Mr. Garrideb over there on the far left. Interesting.
Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant? Former lieutenant in the British Army here, don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready.
Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think. Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely everything. And I'm ready for it.
Don't understand it. I can't have left it in there. It's not possible. But could I have?
Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop.
Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
Is something wrong, Runo?
Oh, not exactly. It's just... I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact.
Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know.
So I've been led to believe. Something tells me I'm being duped.
Very well. Now, Lord Van Zeeks, the court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder.
Why only those 2 reacting?
The victim, Mr. Pop Windybank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, his report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory.
And what's that supposed to tell us?
It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say.
Oh.
The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed. The court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please.
I need to look at those.
I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred.
Before we do that, I want to look at these pieces of evidence. Autopsy report. Prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner, confirms instant death due to a single bullet wound from the back. No other signs of trauma. Gently rising diagonal trajectory. Just as it's stated. And there's nothing else about this. Oh, tiny little dot in the wood there. Alright, that's enough. Alright, how did this occur? Ah yes, that is what it looks like.
The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry, a door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only two persons present. The victim, Mr. Windybank, and the accused.
Or is it accused? I don't know how they would actually pronounce it.
It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet.
Well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. Is that grubby little girl a pickpocket anyway? She's one of those filthy drabs that live in the slums and he's dead.
Oh, well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then.
What the judge's waiting for? The girl's guilty as hell.
Objection! We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive.
My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses. Good gracious! After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pickpurse, or pitiful pickpurse, or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth.
That's a pretty blank expression, Gina.
The court will take the floor plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zeeks. At once, my lord.
Man, lots of stuff entering the court record all of a sudden. This isn't good. No kidding. But first, let's check more of the stuff. The plan of Windybank's pawnbrokery, scene of the crime, relative positions of the main shop and rear storeroom. Nothing fancy about this. Okay. The gun. This will probably have something to it. The gun belonged to the victim, Mr. Windybank, that Gina was holding when she was found unconscious. There are signs of a single discharge. Alright. This is Mr. Windybank's gun. The cylinder's completely empty.
Mr. Windybank always used to keep this gun to hand on his shop counter.
Yes, but only ever with a single bullet loaded, I understand.
That's right, to keep all the pawned articles that were in his care safe.
But his one bullet was fired that night. The poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop, I wonder? Trying to keep the articles safe? That was the one bit of discussion, seemingly only for the chamber. The only conversation is around the chamber. Just make sure. Okay. Man, I'm so scared that I'm missing something here, because... Oh, hello. Oh no. I'm just lined up with the chamber again. Yeah, that's not real. Alright. I guess I can reasonably assume that there's nothing special about the inspection of this gun. Good. This isn't good.
I feel like the mood in here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Runo.
I think that's because it has. Oh, right away! Taking off the cloak, like, before we even get to anything.
Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windybank on 16th April of this year.
Alright, buddy, let's go. Oh boy, who are these fools? Look at their faces.
Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court.
Wow. Who are these people?
Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is, baddie. Professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin.
Oh god, no, that can't be his voice. It's too close to the other guy. Well, let's just make them Waluigi and Wario then.
Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation's, same as him. Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right. We're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers.
Oh, okay, they're coding them as Cockney.
What are you looking at me like that for? Don't lump me in with you lot. God blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through? It's our older bruv. We lost contact with her, we have. So we scoured every shady corner of the capital. And then last night we come across you. The very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo? He is, Nash, he is. The very spit of him. So we decided then what we was going to do. We was going to call you. Big bro Sulky. Come on, leave it out, you two.
Sulky Skulkin? And that's before he's run out of chips.
Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias. What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you are doing in the witness stand. The Skulkin Brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft. Thieves, are they, these three? Now, my lord, begging your pardon, but please don't lump me in with this lot. 2 nights ago, these two brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime. By Jove, you mean to say, what an extraordinary coincidence. Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the Pawn Blokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder.
Yeah, the return of the crate.
Order, order! The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future. With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand. Permit. Bleh. Mr. and Mrs. Skulkin, or Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question and what exactly you saw.
Happy to. 'Cause a skulkin's never skulkin'.
Get out of it.
I like these guys.
He was walking down Baker Street in the small hours and the gaff store was ajar, see? It was like some kind of sign, begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, caught blimey lumming. We heard a gunshot from the back room. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet.
That's pretty short. Good. I like when testimonies are short.
A terrible coincidence, it would seem. At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot. The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime seen in every detail. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside. And within, only the victim and the accused were found. Blech. I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now, of course. Counsel, if you please. Counsel?
Yes.
What's the matter, Runo?
Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know that it's all nonsense because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is. Wow, this is like an echo of the first case where I was actually there and I know, like, it was different from what they're saying. And the gaff's door was ajar. See? Oh yeah? Hold it. Front door of Windy Banks was ajar, you say? What time of night was this?
Must have been about 1. Right, Ringo?
Yeah, I'd say so. Right, Sulky?
How would I know? The place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. Well, it was pitch black inside, it's true. Ain't that right, Ringo?
I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Sulky, me old mucker? Leave me alone.
There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place.
And when these gentlemen ventured into the open establishment, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim.
Objection? That is pure conjecture.
Perhaps, but it changes nothing. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle of a cold-blooded murder, simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside.
Right, that's what happened.
It was like some kind of someone begging for us to go in, it was.
Hold it! What are you trying to suggest? That you had to go in?
Well, God moves in mysterious ways, they say. Don't they, Ringo?
They do, Nash, they do. Must have been some sort of providence, I reckon.
God's will often presents itself as a whim of thieves, does it?
It weren't no whim. I'm dead sure of that.
It weren't, Nash, it weren't. Like we said at the time.
You don't just find doors open in the middle of the night like that. Nah, there's no two ways about it. Well, they saw their long-lost brother was inside.
They're not very good liars, are they?
Well, you can't deny it. It leads to a bloke what looks just like our bruv.
I said cut it out. Those chips are getting a chomping today.
Once we got inside, God blimey, lummy, we had a gunshot from the back room.
Hold it! A gunshot, you say? Just the one? You sure about that?
Yup, just the one, governor. I can swear to that. It was, Nash, it was. Ain't that right, bruv?
The firearm used belonged to the victim himself.
Yes, Mr. Windybank always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter.
Right, I remember. When we examined it, we found the revolver was completely out of rounds.
That makes sense. Mr. Windybank always used to say he only ever kept a single bullet loaded.
That's true. I remember him saying that as well.
So we can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as a murder weapon.
Yes, my lord, we can.
And I should remind the court that the firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused.
Wonderful.
We won't see what was up, but the door was locked from the inside.
Hold it. Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom?
If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help.
What a jerk.
Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there's only one other door, that of the storeroom.
Of course, it was only a little oil lamp burning, not much to see by. And the door was hidden behind a curtain and all.
That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by the curtain. Hold on, I need to clear my throat. Sorry. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door?
Eh?
Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I should think.
Oh, well, your turn, Rabbit Ringo.
Nash, yeah. I suppose you'd have to say we ain't normal, eh? Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gunshot or scream. The timid flee, gripped by fear, while the courageous investigate to see if they might help. These gentlemen are of the latter inclination. My learned Nipponese friend, it would seem, is of the former.
I just immediately replaced Nipponese with Japanese in my head. Alright, somehow I just proved that I was a coward that night.
Thank you, counsels. So, I believe we all understand that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses.
We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing.
You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story?
Well, it was Bellum soon as, wasn't it?
It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out me Lucy lockets.
So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets... Oh, wow, your nose is good. So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left, nice and quietly, you say.
That's right, Governor. Nothing we hate more than violence. Peace-loving nibblers we are, not bludgers.
We are, Nash, we are. Never even pulled me dukes out me Lucy lockets.
So you'd clearly like us to believe. Or so you'd clearly like us to believe.
Eh? Come again?
As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person?
Saints alive. They fired a gun, you say?
Ah! Waluigi time! Blimey, Governor. You ain't telling us was you in the doorway?
It was.
Why the bleeding Nora?
Didn't you mention that before?
You were armed with a gun, and as you fled the scene, you fired that gun at London's greatest detective, Herlock Sholmes.
They shot the great Mr. Sholmes? I did hear that, actually. There was a rumor he'd been rushed to the hospital. Great Sholmes? That's beyond the pale.
On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession.
What the hell, man?
Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of a shot having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed. Remnants of powder around the muzzle, as you say, counsel. Court will hold this weapon as evidence.
Wow, 2 guns as evidence. So the Skulkin Brothers Gun is now part of this. There's probably going to be a moment where we have to discover which gun fired the bullet. So, actually, just real quick, I want to take a look at this gun too. How many points of interest are there? It looks like only 1 on the chamber as well. Nothing about that, or this, or this. Whoop, my bad. I was trying to see if there's a way to zoom in. I don't think there is. Okay. So, there's ammunition still loaded in 5 of these revolver 6 cylinders.
Yes, which tell us that only a single shot has been fired from it.
Exactly.
The bullet that hit Hurley, in fact, isn't it?
Yes, it happened almost as soon as we'd walked in through Windybanks' door.
I'll make those brothers pay.
Jeez. That's pretty ominous, Cyrus. What are you gonna do? You have a bazooka in your possession.
Now, my learned Nipponese friend.
Yes.
Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. For yes, there are the telltale signs of spent powder on this gun, and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial.
Objection!
Objection. Well, I don't need evidence. Because I was there.
Objection! Objection. However, the rest of us in this courtroom were not. If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on.
Evidence that these 2 fired that gun before they left Windybanks that night.
The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded a firearm in the pawnbroker's shop that night?
Oh, we're already here. Well then, let's have ourselves a nice little save. Okay. Redemption ticket. No. Samples of blood. No. Wait. Is there anything to this? Windybank's main shop is green. Aha. So I think this portfolio here will do it. That seems to be the most likely candidate aside from... Yeah. This has to be it.
Take that!
Take that! The evidence is in this portfolio.
What on earth have you there, counsel?
During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of bloodstains.
Not trusting the police to do the job they're trained to do? How arrogantly Nipponese of you.
Well, anyway, they didn't do a good job because I found shit they didn't. Anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio.
And you claim to have the evidence the court is demanding therein?
Yes, my lord.
No more dallying then, counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene?
This right here. Why wouldn't it be this one? Yeah.
Take that!
Take that! What is that? Explain.
It's a photographic print taken at Windybank's pawnbroker on the day of the incident.
From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged there.
Yes, as your lordship noticed, the bullet pierced Mr. Windybank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death.
The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight. But this indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th.
That's right. And while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes this is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round from their gun at the pawnbrokers that night.
Nah. Order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zieks? If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection.
What?
Ah! But you'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbroker illegally. And like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street. Eh? Take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna land us in the soup. You were gonna get into them details. Tell him, Sulky. Set the bloke straight.
I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zieks knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes.
It would seem now that I owe my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zieks? As has been established at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brothers' gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim. Ah! In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windybank at all.
So that's it. They miss everything? That's a great animation.
That's it. We didn't have nothing to do with it.
We didn't, we did. That's what I reckon. Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and, let us not forget, attempted murder. Quite a catalogue, eh, fellas? Win for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly.
Where is he going with this?
Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery.
Eccentric? Says who?
Not me. Don't give me that look.
He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop.
Oh, that's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders.
What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device.
Every half an hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, he would be caught red-handed.
The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question.
Ooh, 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m.
And as the court will observe, copious identical prints were produced in a quite desultory fashion.
Oh man, I don't know what that word means. Desultory?
Rather prodigal, I feel. In fact, there are two such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer the court to the plan of the premises, their respective positions are here and here. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera.
That's a bit all fried tuck, eh, bruv?
Thy luck loves a skulkin. Witnesses, at what time did your trespassing begin?
Must have been just after 1. Right, bruv?
Must have been, Nush, must have been. Yeah, just gone 1. In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment, what scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Good lord. It's the defendant. Miss Gina Lestrade.
Oh shit. That's a very incriminating photo, Gina.
As the court can clearly see, the accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his storeroom. Quite. One can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you please, counsel.
Shit. That's so incriminating. Ugh.
I don't believe it. Ginny?
In short, the accused is the only person who could possibly have killed Mr. Windybank. Ah!
I say, my lord, who says that?
I say, my lord. Wonder if I might put in a word at this point? Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Took a bally bullet to the knee in the Battle of Maywand, 1880, don't you know? Decorated for it and all that, but forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, a medal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see. The battle of daily life, if you like. And here I am now, leading this small squadron. 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together, you mark my words. One for all, and all for one. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand? Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct? In a manner of speaking, yes. That is the Gyakuten Squadron's position, sir.
What? No. It's too soon to make a judgment here.
Status report for the court, men. On the double.
His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions, too. I think you'll find the truth is as clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it.
I left it in there. I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember.
Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop.
I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this matter. Announce your considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
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 It's so weird that they give them, like, a single word of dialogue for some of these jurors. Or, like, 2 words. 2 lines.
It does indeed appear that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already.
That photograph. It must be the definitive evidence. It must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned.
But Ginny didn't shoot him.
No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination.
Very well. The court grants permission. So, you refuse to admit defeat again. How...
Excuse me, I had to burp for a second.
How unsurprising. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready? Abso-bally-lutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
Alright, let's go. We're doing it already.
All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketienne.
Pickpocketienne? Wow. It's a fancy word.
As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you look at that photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out.
I've left it in there. I should think there'll be repercussions by now.
Mind made up. Stop. Global radio transmission of verdict to follow. Stop.
In motherland we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent.
Okay. Judges in Ace Attorney games love to
The circumstance of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone.
Wait a minute. I can read that a little better.
The storeroom locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. And in the accused's hand, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print. Taken from a chap who's seen action on the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling the bally trigger.
I'm losing his voice. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh dear. Well, these cameras were supposed to help, not hinder.
I'm afraid I think you'll have an uphill struggle ahead of you.
But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windybank. Which means there's more to this situation that we've yet to see.
Agreed.
You have the floor, Counsel. Proceed with the Summation Examination.
I like watching him pace back and forth during this. All the evidence clearly points to the figure of the young pickpocket Chen. You're Mr. Natsume's landlord, Mr. Gerdib, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this.
Ah, you're that lawyer chap. Well, there's a turn-up full of books. Yes, rather a turbulent time we had back then.
Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Sholmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously. I wouldn't be suggesting that, therefore you should change your leaning to not guilty or anything.
Can't be denied, I suppose. The curse of the Gerdib house was the talk of the town after that business. Lodgers moved out, and I couldn't get a bally soul to take up the tenancies.
Oh.
Haven't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet. Bad enough that the old girl's clapped up.
Clapped up? What does that mean?
Yes, can't be denied. You did do rather a lot. But not for us, that's for dashed certain.
I suppose not. Damn.
Of course, there can be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty here, obviously.
Obviously. But honestly, I really wish he'd pay more attention to the trial, and less to juror number 2. Oh, is that what they're implying by him constantly turning to his left? Or to his, yeah, to his left.
Hold it!
Oh man, my throat, sorry. One sec. Alright, sorry about that. Polishing the bench, I see. Again.
A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain.
What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores?
On my way to market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pick-pursers, and crossmen, the scum of the earth.
A little harsh, perhaps.
Let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals.
You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Rand's magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital.
Mr. Sholmes, a maid.
It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective.
Minor detail. It was the 2 brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant.
A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned.
Well, just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway.
Yes, all right. I shall amend my statement. Those brothers are the scum of the earth. They should swing for shooting the greatest detective. For shooting the great detective.
Should swing, huh? Is that just a euphemistic way to say hanged that wouldn't have been used before? Press again.
Hold it!
I agree with you. The shooting of Mr. Sholmes was an unforgivable act. But the purpose of this trial is to determine who shot the pawnbroker, Mr. Windybank.
I'm afraid you're splitting hairs, sir.
Sorry?
Whether it was the thieves or the pick purse, it was still gutter trash that shot the pawnbroker in the end. Filth that should be cleaned up and eradicated, in my considered opinion.
Thanks so much for sharing. Changing this maid's mind isn't going to be easy.
Bruno, it was one of those two brothers that shot Hurley, wasn't it?
Yes, without question.
Well, then I'll never forgive them.
Oh, Iris.
Perhaps we can use this maid's statement to help us somehow, do you think?
Yes, maybe. Let's listen carefully to what each juror has to say first. This guy seems obsessed with stereograms. Hold it! What do you mean, look at the photograph in the stereo? Look at the photograph in stereo.
Sorry, what? Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket girl's about to shoot the victim, obviously.
Objection. But there's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun.
All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information.
Wow, he's actually being helpful. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes?
Oh, how'd you know?
Let's call it a lucky guess.
It never gets old seeing the two prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary, it's captivating, it's the height of modernity.
Of course.
Oh yes, I think you'll find that the stereoscope is here to stay. Giving us new perspectives we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen.
This must have been much funnier on the 3DS, where, when it was actually like a 3D system. Oh, I really wish I could have played this on the 3DS, kind of, because it did have like 3D effects and stuff. What a shame. I liked the glasses-free 3D effect that it had. A lot of people didn't, but I did. I thought it was neat. It's the greatest invention the world's ever seen. I'm pretty sure I read it already. If only it could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you. What do you keep talking about? Good. What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that.
So sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon.
A surgeon? That totally passed me by.
Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors. Oh no. Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field.
So, what is it that you think you've left behind?
Well, that's a little embarrassing, to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday, standard thing, went in through the abdomen. But when I'd finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere.
What? Did he? Surely not.
Exactly, surely not, you say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really.
That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter.
It's exactly my concern. And seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure.
I'm sure you need to be more sure. Ha 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 ha. My made up stop. Stop. You got quite the gimmick, lady. Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean?
Are you from the Far East? Stop.
Yes, from the Empire of Japan.
All communication with Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers took more than a month to complete the journey. But now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electrical signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world.
Thousands of miles of cable? On the ocean bed? Makes my head hurt just thinking about it.
You are well informed, young lady. But cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop.
And just when I was starting to catch up.
Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airwaves to four corners of the globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop.
Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Yeah, okay. I thought I misread electric for a second.
Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What utter piffle. I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys.
Oh. He's so mad. Anyway, we can get back to that later. Don't spare any feelings, will you? It's not like there's anyone here who likes stereoscopes. So, why exactly do you think that the defendant is guilty?
It's quite simple. We haven't been shown a scrap of evidence to suggest that she isn't the culprit. And just as radio waves dash through the skies faster than the eye can see, so we should dash to the conclusion of this trial and stop pandering to indecision.
What? Why is it spelled like that? Convince brothers are innocent. Please tell me you're not villain Bolshevik. The Russian revolutionary.
Revolutionary?
Da. I believe there is such a rumor.
It's just a rumor.
As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. I look like vicious criminal.
Your words, not mine. Just want to point that out.
People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat.
And which glove fits?
Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
Right. That didn't sound staged at all. You're forgive me for having my doubts.
To be treated like vicious criminal all the time, it is very painful. People do not realize. So I have much sympathies for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because of how they look.
The Skulkin Brothers.
Da. Maybe they went inside pawnbroker's shop, but they have done nothing wrong. That is all what I want to say.
The Skulkin Brothers did nothing wrong that night. Alright, well first of all, that's one not so little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. Tell me something, Iris.
What is it, Runo?
The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they?
Yes. It's amazing, isn't it?
In that case, how is it that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary?
I wish I knew.
Is that going to become like a plot point? If I can't change the minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, the trial will be over.
But we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone.
Yes, so we need to find contradictions in what these jurors are saying and pit them against each other. I must be ready to go with whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Alright, so first off, let's press her and get that other guy to react to her again. Yeah. No. One more. There we go. There we are. Time to pursue. Excuse me. Juror number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but... What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess.
Oh, you bet I do. Say that again. Go on, I dare you. Goodness, are you talking to me?
I think he just might be, yes.
You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you? Huh? Absolutely. I mean, really. A machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions? Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional.
What a great way to appease the man.
No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes have no practical use at all. You just don't know. Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate.
What sort of possibilities?
Well, take a crime scene for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before.
What?
Have you got any, Runo? Any prints we could look at with a stereoscope?
Do we? Crime scene photograph of Gina? Like, in the court record, I don't think so. None of these things that I have are, like, sets of photos. I only have a single photo. Am I supposed to... I mean, the photo that was put into the court record can be compared against the other ones that were already shown, but I don't know if that's what they would mean. Let's save. Well, let's just say yeah. Because this is clearly something we were trying to do. How about this print here? It should do the trick, I think.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints?
Of course I can.
Very well then. I'd like you to demonstrate.
I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all.
Oh shit. It's forcing me to have both? But I don't have both. Hey, that ain't fair. I don't have it, do I? No, none of these are photos. Oh, am I supposed to present the cat? I'm supposed to present the cat, aren't I? Let's load real quick. Hold on a second. Absolutely. How about this print here? Oh, wait a minute. No. That's not what I wanted. Okay.
Take that!
I was wrong. I can't actually think of anything we could use at all.
What? Really? Oh dear, I think maybe I need to have a stereoscopic look at your brain sometime.
What's that supposed to mean? Am I going to have to, like, work my way toward gaining evidence in the trial? Whoa, that's kind of new. Because I think I need 2 pictures. Okay. Let's see if we can pit this guy against her. I think that was something that we could do, because she was like, she admitted that they did wrongdoing, and he was like, no, they're innocent, so...
Objection!
Objection! Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other.
Good lord. Counsel, explain yourself.
Oh my statement? Contradictory?
Contradict. C-O-N...
Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick.
I do not have stick. I have mouse.
As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver.
Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand.
Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear.
Abdomen, abdomen, A, B, D.
Sir?
Sorry. My English is still learning.
You are telling the court you didn't hear.
Forgive me. I did not hear. There. Here's word. Abdomen. Part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. If this is what you mean, you should say in plain English. I am Russian, not native speaker.
We thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again.
So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying? They said before, we never done nothing, but truth is they show detective, duh. That is double negative.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by person who looks like criminal.
Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced.
This means, when they said we never took nothing, maybe it was also big fat lie. Is this true?
Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so...
Enough. I trust no one now.
It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir.
I must see with own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself.
I'm afraid that won't be
Yes, it is, Runo. Easily.
Sorry?
With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. Ah. If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Cooey, Mr. Prosecutor.
Tut-tut. Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one.
Alright, we are going to get the next print then.
Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight.
So this was taken after Hurley was shot, then? As far as I can tell, nothing has been taken.
That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print.
So, the brothers who look like criminals took only one lie, or told only one lie. They shot man, but they stole nothing.
It would seem so, yes.
Good.
No, not good.
You were right, I did not understood situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very, very important to continue. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue with trial.
Hey, we got him on our side.
Yay! Well done, Runo. The balance is shifting.
Well, it's a start, I suppose. But there must be more in what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. If I can do that, we just might turn the situation to our favor still.
Thank you, counsel. Let's continue the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence.
Thank God. Alright, we needed that. The post-shooting photograph has been entered in the court record. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. Yes, we can, because I tried already, and it wasn't there.
In lake of lies on many dead fish, we must find truth. Therefore I say not guilty verdict.
Good on you, juror number 6. Okay, nothing here really to examine in particular. Let's press you again.
Hold it!
There we go. Almost there. Yep. Here we go. This one right here. Humph. Alright, let's pursue you again. Get me to the point where I have to present the thingies. You think the tour was absolutely really blah 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 blah. You just don't know. Pardon, blah blah blah. All sorts of possibilities. What sorts of possibilities? Blah blah blah. If you look at this photograph, look at this photograph. How about this print here? It should do a trick, I think.
Take that!
Take that, Iris! You stupid little girl! Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints?
Of course I can.
Very well then. I'd like you to demonstrate.
I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all.
Take that!
Take that!
Alright, these 2 prints were taken with the same camera and windy banks on the night in question.
Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer, do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle?
Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the positions of some objects. Then, when your brain merges the 2 images together inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth.
Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects in the 2 pictures that's really important.
So what happens if you use two photographs that are exactly the same then?
No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene 3-dimensionally anyway. Oh. Oh! Of course, now I see! Ah, I think the young girl has discovered the secret! I have!
With this cross eyes and everything. Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me?
Have another look at these 2 pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on! Can you see that there's a really obvious difference between them?
Well, aside from the 2 people, there is a broken lamp on the lower right-hand corner of the table, or the counter. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that cross ideally, just in case there's something else. Oh, there's actually a bit of a 3D effect going on here, though. Like, it's, if you do the cross-eyed thing on your screen right now, like that stack of books with the skull on it and the picture of the doggy, they all pop out a little bit. That's interesting. Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second.
Well, yes, you can see that straight away, but now, try looking at the pictures in 3 dimensions.
Alright, I'll give it a go. So to start with, you have to cross your eyes and try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. It's so weird that they forced this as part of the game. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each picture overlap in the middle. Okay, I'm doing it. Wait.
Well, did you manage to see it properly, Runo?
I'm gonna say yes, I saw it. I think. Ah! What's going on with these 2 pictures? Oh, that thing I noticed was actually the problem, because they shouldn't be jumping out. They just said so, of course. Okay, good. I'm glad that it all makes sense. I should be more trusting of the game. I'm sorry, game. Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. I love this.
Yes, that's it, you see. That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes.
Other amazing power?
Someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that,
I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope? As I said before, if you try to look at 2 identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's a slight shift in the positions of certain objects that lets you see pictures 3-dimensionally.
In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the 2 pictures, this shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions.
Yes, there must have been.
Now hold fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does a shift between the 2 prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master.
What? Me? I haven't the first idea.
You know, Runo, it's quite simple.
It is?
Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 AM, then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means at sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter.
Zukas!
Someone tampered? New information? Stop. Not mentioned in testimony so far. Stop.
Yes. We've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom?
I'm suggesting you might know.
Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. I tend to overthink questions like this. Let's see how crazy I can get off here. We haven't even brought this guy up yet. No, I don't think that was it. Because that was the first bit. It wasn't the night bit. He didn't come back in. It was one of these fools, perhaps. Okay, it was either these two, because who was present? It was him, it was her, it was him, and those two. I mean, that would, yeah, it's probably just those two then. I'll say it's Nash.
Take that!
Dumb. It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin Brothers.
Wait. This does not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy lockets. My phrase book says dukes is meaning hands and Lucy lockets is meaning pockets. What is this? Another lie. Is this what you are saying?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Now hold on there a minute. You can't be sure of that.
I quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse, after all. It's perfectly possible she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal.
I think that's unlikely.
And why exactly?
As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windybank to open the storeroom door. Oh, he's tossing back a learned friend over to Van Zeeks. How do you like it, Van Zeeks? In other words, Miss Lestrade's interests lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin Brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony.
The accused is a pick purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here?
Because the Skulkin Brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse, than a pick purse. That's an interesting assertion to make. Will he elaborate? I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves?
Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair.
That's great. That's an amazing animation.
Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand.
Nice.
Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. Will return home via Regent Street. Stop.
Yeah, tip them scales, boys.
Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice using their customary fire-bending powers. It's still so weird to me that they have fire-bending powers. What happened to Britain in the interim? How come people these days don't have fire-bending powers in the UK? I wonder. I hereby call this summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus, and I order this trial to continue.
Yay! Well done! Oh, by the way,
What?
you should hold on to this, Runo. You never know when it might come in useful.
Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely. But alright. The stereoscope has been entered into the court record.
Lord Van Zeeks, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them. I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord.
I won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night, at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Alright, is that a chapter break? My goal here tonight is 2 chapters. Because I think there's 4 in total of this trial. So, yeah, I don't consider that enough of a spoiler to care. Alright. We're moving right along. Into the next part. Let's go.
Order, please. Let us resume proceedings.
Sorry if you heard me drinking water just now.
Witnesses, you will now retake the stand.
These guys.
I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination?
Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov, I did.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
God blimey!
This is gonna be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windybanks.
Well, it was Bedlam soon as, wasn't it?
It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me deuce out me Lucy lockets.
However, that was a lie. Excuse me. You brothers.
God blimey!
On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter.
We never done nothing of the sort.
Oh, you figured that out?
These guys. These are funny guys.
You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. A thought worth pondering, perhaps.
Say no more, Gov, we hear ya.
We'll blow, we'll squeak, we'll peach.
Illegal entry. The whole truth.
Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing.
It was when we heard the gunshot, see? Made us both jump and all that stuff went flying.
Look, me, it didn't half give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter'd come out the door and get us next.
We stuck everything back where we found it in Skulkin, straight into him in the black.
We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we?
So you admit to the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windybank's countertop on the night in question.
Not ransack, Governor, no.
That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tied it up, yeah. Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess.
Where you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all. We hardly sound like roughs at all.
We don't, Nash, we don't. Can you make us sound a bit more cutthroat?
Can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windybanks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. I get the feeling that during my pressing, Gregson is gonna pipe up and be like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Hold it!
Maybe that'll happen. Hold it! If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place?
Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we?
We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we did something like that, people would think we was up to no good.
Well said, Rango, me old China. We only land ourselves in even more trouble.
And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourselves in even more trouble.
That's rotten luck.
Says the rotten apple eater. Well, I think he's eating decent apples. He is rotten, but the apples aren't. Eating rotten apples is sick, man. Who would do that? Gross.
Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter?
We never ransacked nothing.
Oh, that's right. More like we tied the place up. Wait.
Is this the same dialogue?
Sorry.
Oh, I guess it was just redundant dialogue. But it wasn't the exact same dialogue. It was callback dialogue. I got tripped up for a second. So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter.
Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah? This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on.
Look, it was loud, alright. Blimey, we dead granny would have woken up with that bang.
Big bruv here screamed like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books and a candlestick and some skull whatnot. They got tangled in some marionette one knocked over a picture frame what knocked them scales on the floor.
Wow, that's quite a sequence.
They got tangled in some marionette what knocked over a picture frame what knocked them scales on the floor.
You've really mastered working quietly then.
Huh.
Well, racket. My granny would have been scared back into her grave at a cloud like that.
So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise.
And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse and then all of a sudden, BAM!
Aha, just like I thought. Gregson is chomping mad. Look at him go.
Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom.
I'm gonna keep pressing though. I'll come back to the statement later.
I picture this scene, right? I hear the shot, the next thing I know, there's a skull rolling across the floor.
That definite bang in the pitch black. I ain't gonna forget that in a hurry, I can tell ya.
And yet, despite being so scared, you had the composure to tidy the mess you'd made?
Eh? What do you mean, Gov?
I'd imagine most people would have left the rolling skull and fled without a second thought.
You want to give the Skulkin Brothers a bad name? If nothing else, we're tidy.
Well, pardon me for the slander. Excuse me, princess.
No, he didn't half give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter'd come out the door and get us next. Hold it.
So, you didn't try to open the storeroom door then?
Not in your life.
It went deathly quiet after that, did. Put the wind right up me. Anyway, the door was locked, wasn't it? No way that was opening.
Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe.
It was, Gov, it was. From the inside.
Right, so we had no way of knowing what was going on there, did we?
Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole, or a spy hole, perhaps.
Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights.
Had to come run before we noticed anything like that.
We're still cutting our teeth in this game, see? But one day...
we'll really cut the mustard.
Please, cut it out.
But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away.
Yes, unfortunately. Gina was in there, unconscious, with the gun in her hand.
To confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom? That's right, Gov, that's right.
Couldn't have even if we wanted to.
We still got everything back we found in Scarpa, straightening him in the black.
Hold it!
Hold it! Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, yeah, it was a bit hasty there. We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up.
If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand.
Good advice, miss, good advice.
Truth be told, my mind went totally blank.
Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand.
Mental note made, miss.
After that, we loaded it down the street, but apparently we looked dodgy to the coppers or somewhat, so they clapped the derbies on us like winking.
I feel like they've written these guys' Cockney accents way easier for me to understand. Like, in a way that I can... Or maybe it's just when I try to do Gina's voice in particular, it's way, way worse. I don't know.
And after you'd been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct? Well, yeah.
But listen, that proves it, doesn't it, huh? Hey? We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we?
Hold it!
And why should we believe that?
Eh? What? Well, 'cause it's true, isn't it? The place was totally empty when we went in.
At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused, who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windybank. Correct?
You got it, mister. Down to a T.
So the Skulkin Brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windybank? Is that really true, I wonder? That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony.
What is it, Renault? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired.
Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh. But I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something. Something important. It's nothing more than a feeling, though. I have no proof to support it.
Well, feelings can be very logical at times.
Sorry?
People's expressions, the movement of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take all that in, and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you describe. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts.
Iris. Thank you. Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5. Iris is a really good character. Which one was it? I guess it was this one?
Hold it!
I'm looking for when Gregson goes all like, hey, what the hell? Here we go. I think this was it. No, it was this one.
Hold it!
God, this sucks. That's one thing I don't really like about the pursue tactic, or the pursue, like, mechanic. You gotta wait, you gotta, like, if you want to see all the dialogue, you have to go through, like, multiple runs of the same testimony, and you have to, like, fast forward your way through it anyway. Anyway, excuse me! Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add?
Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels.
No, something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something?
It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, only. Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details.
How about you just tell us what's on your mind?
As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night, and the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what you're saying now. Did it? You claim you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. Can't help feeling like that, like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas? If I discover the witness' testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Against them.
What did he say?
Easy, easy. We'll get it right this time. That's it. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now.
Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs. Right you all, Gov.
Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!"
Hold it!
Hold it! So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously.
We did, Gov, we did.
Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yelling all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun! Boom! Kind of thing. Kind of thing.
A career in acting tragically missed. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell?
Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was.
From the storeroom where the victim was found dead.
And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windybank.
All my granny's life, of course it was. On his granny's life, of course it was.
So, that would mean that you both knew Mr. Windybank and the sound of his voice. Oh, that's a great detail to catch him on.
Huh? So that would mean what?
What, Nash, what? Any ideas? Yes, Counsel, indeed it would.
No, we didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny when that bloke in all the fancy clothes was giving us the evil eye?
If you value your lives, you'll ensure your testimony is accurate and true.
On my granny's life, it is. On his granny's life, it must be.
It's a good job his granny's dead. It's a good job? That's an interesting thing. That must be a UK thing. And like, instead of saying it's a good thing, but it's a good job? Interesting phrase.
To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them up over the shop floor.
You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget, we tied up after like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it.
The bloke would own the place, was holding the gun, so should have just fired instead of... Oh, okay, so this is new testimony.
The bloke who owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl.
Hold it!
Hold it. You're saying that Mr. Windybank had a gun in his hands?
Oh yeah, bet that was his side, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other. Must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot..."
Didn't really sound like he meant it, mind. More of an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Windybank was shown to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief. Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only, the person he was going to shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper. I wished he'd squeeze the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun."
And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot?
It was more or less at the same time, Gov. Give me that gun! Boom! Kind of thing. Kind of thing.
Yes, a career in acting very tragically missed.
Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everything went dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash job tidying the place up.
Lomi didn't give me a fright. We were thinking the chute would come out the door and get his neck. Oh wait, no, I didn't mean to do that. We've already pressed this before. No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't need it. I don't need it. It's okay. Holy moly, it was a long press statement. Alright, we couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never had a chance, did we? Did I press this last statement before?
Hold it!
And why should we believe that? What? Well, because it's true. Okay, yeah, we did it. Alright, we're back to the end of the thing. That's it? That's full statement testimony? Okay. So we have new statements. What do I have in the court record? There's so much evidence here. Holy shit. Holy moly. This is examinable? Oh no. Okay, let's see what this is.
You have to pop your 2 prints in here to start with, you see.
And then when you look through the eyepieces, you can see the image in 3 dimensions.
The important thing to get right is the position of the 2 prints.
I don't know who came up with the idea of a stereoscope, but it's really quite fascinating. Hey, we can yeah, cool. Oh, look at that. It's totally changed shape just from one little button press.
Well, that is what the button's for, Runo. You're just like Hurley. You boys love pressing buttons, don't you? Especially if you don't know what they do.
Us boys? Says a 10-year-old girl.
Anyway, now you can see that it really is a stereoscope, can't you?
Okay, opening it up didn't reveal anything of secret inside. Nothing special about the lenses or anything else. And this, I guess, would probably have the same conversation as before. Okay, never mind. Good. Nothing too crazy about that. 2 post-shooting photographs, or 2 photographs, 1 gun. So in this photograph, the only gun is the one Gina has. Meanwhile, Windybank himself has no gun. I feel like the discrepancies of number of guns is probably something to focus on, at least for now. Give me that gun. Was holding a gun. Yeah, we already have a picture that says he was, or that shows otherwise, so it seems like a decent place to start. Pretty sure that's where we're gonna start from. I'm gonna show this picture.
Objection!
Objection. You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct?
That's it, Gov. You got the picture.
Yes, Nash, yes. No question.
And yet the photographic evidence from the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not in possession of a firearm of any description. Or that Mr. Windybank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
Objection!
Objection!
It's so wild and crazy, his objection.
You surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more? Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, counsel.
Yeah, that's right.
Too right, Nash, too right. The old geezer could have been about to turn the tables on the girl, eh? On the girl, eh?
Hardly likely.
No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence. Continue with the cross-examination, counsel, and heed my earlier warning, witnesses.
As skulkin's never skulkin'.
Wait, that resulted in nothing. What? But what? All right, now I'm pretty confused. Like, I was just told that was too weak an objection to make. I wasn't penalized for it, but it also got me nowhere. So, but these are the new statements, so this ought to be something that I need to focus on. Is there anything here? Am I supposed to bring up the fact that it looks like he was shot in the back? Let's see if that's something.
Objection!
Nope. That reveals a damn inconsistency, that last statement. I like how when he has a bad, like, objection, his eyes are darting around because he's not sure.
Damning, you say? As I look at you, counsel, I see your trembling hand, your pallid expression, and your perspiring brow.
Huh?
It seems to me that is a damning inconsistency here, with the misplaced confidence of your assertion.
He has a damning tongue.
You invite it, sir.
Oh. He read my mind, just like so many other characters in this game. We heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun." Let's do this again. Or, I don't think I presented on this statement. That was before the murder took place. That was after the murder had taken place.
Objection!
No. I'm just gonna load right back up. What am I? Let's press it again. You're saying that Mr. Winnie got a gun in his hands. Waving guns at each other. Okay, that talk about how he was gonna shoot himself. The person was gonna be cooked his goose proper. Did I already present the picture of him on his back with this statement?
Objection!
Aha! Okay, good. It was the fact that he was shot in the back. I just had the wrong statement highlighted. I'm sorry. So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct?
That's it, Gov. You got the picture.
Wait a minute, no.
Yes, Ashton, yes, no question.
Oh, yes, Ashton, yes, no question. Oh, this feels familiar, but it's a different piece of evidence, so this isn't going to be the same conversation. This can't be. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not holding a firearm of any description.
Eh? You what? Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection!
Objection! There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windybank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand. Yeah, that mole tooler used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun! Boom! Kind of thing.
Hold it!
Hold it. Stay exactly where you are, right there.
Eh?
If the crime had taken place as you've so colorfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out.
Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where's the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final movements?
I'll say it right here. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments? Wouldn't it just be the photo again? I'm almost certain it's just the photo again.
Take that!
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of "Give me the gun," or "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot.
Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe.
Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony's true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, if I could ask the court to study the photograph of the victim's body again, you can clearly see that Mr. Windybank was in fact shot from behind. Ah. So, as I stated before, there's an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. Skulkin.
Yeah, go!
But
it's the God's honest truth.
it is, Nash, it is. Why, he was shot that night.
The shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes.
Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windybank holding a gun.
Something like that might have slipped out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question, they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person.
Nash,
No!
Order. Witnesses, explain yourselves at once.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't supposed to,
It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you. Am I to understand that you replaced the untruth of the original testimony with renewed lies?
Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, see, we,
Cut it out, Nash, cut it out. If we blame now, we know what you'll do to us.
What are they talking about?
Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you.
Bruv, come on. The game's up.
But whoever guts forgot us.
In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out.
On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place.
well,
Do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth.
Come on, boys.
Alright, so he just got inside the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief and the geezer showed his mug.
give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it.
For no geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He's chucked me over the counter.
I pulled my gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room.
We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all that happened, I swear. So, you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop.
Well,
Yeah. Sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably.
but honest, Governor, this time,
This time, Nash, this time, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Alright, the geezer showed his mug. Hold it! When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windybank.
Who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right.
we was keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. But we never thought no one was going to come out of the back room like that.
The back room being the pawnbroker's storeroom.
Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. Only place he could have been. So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises.
Which means Ginny must have been in there. That must have been in there at that point as well.
That doesn't make sense, does it? If Gina had threatened Mr. Windybank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you see the accused at that time?
What, that mole Tula? Couldn't tell you.
No way, Cobber. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it.
Give me that gun. Hey, Flu said it was like it was possessed. I thought we'd had it. Hold it. You mentioned Mr. Windybank shouted those words in your previous testimony too. However, you claim that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door.
Oh, did we?
But the truth is he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he?
Well, yeah.
Was the victim Mr. Windybank wielding a gun at the time?
Was he ever? Blimey lummy. A great ugly belly head pointing straight at me frontispiece.
So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windybank with the gun at that time. Is that right?
It is, Gov, it is. Spot on.
Then all of a sudden he came at us, he did.
It was bedlam. I didn't know who was going for who.
You were clearly all going for each other.
I Nash said we thought we had it. I mean, when old geezer bloke was throwing the logs, he chucked me over the counter.
Hold it. Yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony too.
Well, yeah, of course we did.
Knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot.
They got tangled in some marionette when knocked over the picture frame when knocked them scales on the floor.
So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter.
Well, Big Brother here went flying over that counter like a gunshot, I can tell you. Then the gold geezer pinned him.
He did, Nash, he did. If he hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a bloomin' pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There is a button on the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim.
That's right, and the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street. They ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they?
Poor Mr. Windybank. He did everything he could to protect his shop.
Wah! I pulled my gun on him and then he legged it through that door into the back room.
Hold it!
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windybank?
No, never. I was just, you know, looking out for me bruv, weren't I? I was being flattened, don't forget.
By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes.
And then, the man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him, is that it?
Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away and then ran out through that door and shut himself in.
There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true.
I wonder why Mr. Windybank ran away into the storeroom.
What? What?
Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him, with a gun.
Ah, yes, that's right. Gina allegedly used Mr. Windybanks' gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how'd the gun end up in Mr. Windybanks' hands again?
I've no idea. But that is strange, isn't it?
This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it.
Look, the point is, me and me bruv here.
That's right, Nash, that's right. Me and me brother here. We never had nothing to do with killing him, that's all that happened, I swear.
Hold it. You say you had nothing to do with it.
Nothing at all.
Nothing, Gov, nothing. The old geezer went and shot himself in the back room, didn't he?
Locked it was from the inside.
We knew it was because we tried to open it.
But it's a decent door, that one, good and strong, wouldn't budge an inch.
So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, counsel?
I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Windybank?
There could have been.
Of course there could have been. Mr. Skulkin.
Eh? What?
What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely.
It did?
What is your point, my learned friend?
The question we must answer is, who could have shot Mr. Windybank? And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all.
You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So, pray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect of two conundrums.
2, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe?
Indeed. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time?
Understood, my lord.
Are you alright, Uno?
I'm not entirely sure. There's one thing I am sure about. I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened. It would change Gina's prospects hugely.
So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun.
Well, I would say it is probably outside of here, because there's a peephole, is there not? I was pretty sure there's a peephole. I'm just gonna say this.
Take that!
The defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. No, they didn't stop me.
And in answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time?
It was a slightly upward trajectory, was it not? But that would be different if he himself was angled differently. Well, he was clearly in the storeroom somewhere. I think that's just what they're trying to establish, right?
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom.
Continue.
Mr. Windybank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired?
So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom?
Well, according to the Skulkin Brothers' earlier testimony,
I pulled my gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room.
if Mr. Windybank ran away through the door, we have to assume that the door was open at the time. Ah! It was at precisely that moment, when the victim was fleeing for his life, that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom.
Nah, go!
Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial?
Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, his report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself.
Ringo's pretty short.
Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety.
Ah, of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory. Hey, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windybank.
Objection!
Objection! I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten. But the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim that the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock?
Ah, but... What if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone else who could have locked the storeroom door.
Is that so? Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside?
It was Gina. Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
Objection? That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I'm inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel.
Well, there was like a scuffle outside. It was probably for safety. Like, are we just going to ignore the fact that he was running for his life into the storeroom? Why not lock it to keep the people out? I don't know, man. I don't know if I enjoy this line of dialogue right now. Ah, yes, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it?
Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please.
But of course Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it?
It does?
Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they?
Oh, yes. Obviously. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windybank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windybank must have heard the intruders breaking into a shop and left the storeroom.
Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom.
Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Bang! Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windybank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment?
I see where you're going with this.
With this? Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windybank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But I mean, we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on, we've never shoot no one.
Objection!
Objection. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windybank's murder.
No.
Where does this leave us?
You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all?
If known it was those three brothers, they look as shady as a dense forest.
That was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now.
I know. First time ever. Probably the last.
Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll give a verdict of not...
An admirable effort, my learned friend.
What's this now? He's laughing. We're uncovering murders and he's laughing.
You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zieks? I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation.
You're getting way too racist, man.
But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here.
What was any of that you said? I don't know those words.
The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw.
A fatal flaw?
Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing? I say, Lord Van Zieks. Might be an idea to explain this ballet conjuring trick or whatever it is to the troops on the ground, The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. I pour glasses just to throw them, assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George! Count bullets!
Oh dear. You noticed then?
Huh? What's everyone talking about?
Counsel.
Yes, sir. Weird.
Tell the court, how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime?
Two. 2 bullets.
Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life, and the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, and the Skulkin Brothers revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes.
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness. I think you'll find.
And if the single bullet that was fired from the brothers' gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means...
Windybank not shot by same gun. Stop. Only 1 bullet. Stop.
Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Order, order, order!
That's my favorite one. That animation right there. That's a good one.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. Lord Van Zieks. But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbroker on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond doubt in this print, which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present.
A disc.
I'll be taking that wherever it is of McGildy's down to the yard, thank you very much.
No, don't! Don't give it to him! It's mine, that is, mine!
Sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGildy has to be taken as evidence now.
Yes, that music box disc. McGilded's music box disc.
The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windybank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious. Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets that fact at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel, as a grim testament to the defendant's character.
Oh, that was Gregson? That's his voice in this game? That sounded so young.
Lord Van Zeeks, I am...
Inspector Gregson? What?
Yes, Inspector.
We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed that this wouldn't be used as evidence.
What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zeeks at all.
I am unaware of any such meeting.
But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent.
Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord.
Indeed.
Bailiff. The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case.
I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, for all of 5 minutes. Oh dear. It wasn't even for 5 minutes, Runo.
My lord says...
My lord, wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about a bit in the fog up to now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden... The answer's barely obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it.
Oh no.
Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
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 Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. God damn it. Back to square one. Doing it again.
We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
Isn't that a classic Sherlock Holmes line? Isn't that something that he always says? Yeah.
That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. Oh, how dare he use it against us?
Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. That's beyond any doubt.
Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Your Deb squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty.
So maybe after this, it'll be the next chapter break, I'm assuming. Let's hope.
Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say, Different breed to us law-abiding citizens.
As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, it was that pickpocket.
I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief.
The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead.
I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns.
That's his statement?
Would seem there's little remaining room for doubt. I have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more. Oh, well, no more.
The whole courtroom is turning against me.
It's not fair.
Iris?
That prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny's done something she shouldn't have done in the past, that doesn't make her a murderer.
I wish you would look at your glass.
Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out, eventually.
You smug bitch.
That's enough preamble. Counsel, proceed with the summation examination.
Oh, yeah, the good slap. But it's not the double slap. Yes, my lord. Back to it. Different breed to us law-abiding citizens. Just because Miss Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying?
Ah, well...
Are all members of the British Army so quick to judge?
I beg your pardon? Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world?
No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous.
Well, yes, might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget the girl had already shown she had it in her from before. She is clearly a criminal sought through and through, can't deny it.
When you say that she'd shown she had it in her, are you referring to this?
Exactly. Tried to swipe that only a day earlier, Or am I mistaken?
Not exactly. Given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute that.
I've never actually seen the real thing. I can't wait to have a closer look at it.
At it? Oh, yes, of course. Mr. Sholmes did use his caramel bars to make a copy of the disc, didn't he? And then ordered every type of music box he could find from across Europe.
We still don't know what tune it plays though, do we? But I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy.
McGilded's disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail. Like right the heck now. Because I haven't done that yet. I should have. A metal disc used to play music in a mechanical music box on the reverse sides for Mr. McGilded. Well, first off, let's check this blood.
Oh, Bruno, look. This is blood.
Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before.
Haha, then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that disc, Bruno.
Can we get this done quickly, Iris?
In a flash.
Yeah, shoot it. Green's the color of who?
Ooh, a lovely bright shade again.
Wait, that color.
What is it?
It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? Alright, updating the court record. Nothing else about it except this.
Well, Mr. McGilded. That's the man you defended in court a couple of months ago, isn't it, Bruno?
Yes. Or rather, mistakenly defended.
I wonder what his name is doing on the back of this disc.
That's a question I'd love to know the answer to myself. Alright. Well, actually, that green is the same. Okay, so the green is the same as this, but it's not confirmed whose blood that is. You might think it was Herlock, given that this is supposedly the bullet that shot him, but who knows? Okay, only 2 bullets are found in the scene. I would say the whole case is done and dusted. Hold it. It's the number of bullets that has you convinced? It's the number of bullets that has you convinced?
Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings.
Well, that's logical, I suppose.
Although,
Yes?
sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like the fine china.
Does your employer dine with thieves?
So I suppose, if there was another bullet somewhere of which we are unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position.
3rd bullet somewhere on the scene. Could that be possible? I don't think I can prove it yet. However, I would like to see what the dialogue is that allows me to attempt to prove it. Wait a minute. Did I actually save it? God, I'm being OCD here, but it's fine. Wait, 1127? Yes, that's about right. Sure, let's see if we can prove it. Oh shit. Right into it? I don't think I have that. Not yet, I don't. I'm sorry. Let's get back to it. Aha! No, it's impossible for now. Fortunately, only 2 bullets were discovered by the police during their investigation.
Yes, I know.
Right.
I don't imagine the good men of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. If I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office, well, I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt.
And he should receive a visit from the police, perhaps. Sounds like a crime scene to me.
A 3rd bullet.
Would completely turn things around if there was one, wouldn't it?
Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere?
You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth. It was a pickpocket. So if I've understood correctly, you need two pictures, a left eye one and a slightly different right eye one.
Exactly. Then you can see the scene in 3 dimensions. Like this.
So, if we have 2 bullets, I don't suppose you can see anything useful with them.
I think you'll find that no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. The only person who could have shot the victim is that girl in the dock.
How can you be so sure of that?
Think about it. The Skulkin Brothers shot the great detective, didn't they?
Yes, that's been mentioned once or twice.
Well then, surely it's coming to focus now, isn't it?
This is a waste of time. I'm not gonna change this man's mind anytime soon.
Another man that's hold it!
Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here.
Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it has nothing to do with this trial, to be honest.
Huh?
I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think?
I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on...
What was the fellow's name now? Hairlick? No, Hairlock? No. Hairlock?
Herlock Sholmes, by any chance?
Yes, good lord. It was that Hairlock fellow.
What? You're the surgeon to operate on Mr. Sholmes?
That's right. Using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major op, I can tell you.
This is crazy.
Let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb.
That's a funny image.
And couldn't find the bullet anywhere. So I'm afraid I had to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up.
I hate to state the obvious, but...
Yes?
Surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting.
The counsel for the defense is correct, as is clearly shown in this photographic print. The bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging by the door.
Wait. Shit. The bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging by the door. I think you'll find it's really quite simple if you just consider the problem 3-dimensionally.
Who do you think I am, son?
Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do.
As soon as I saw the wound to the man's stomach, I flipped him over.
Like a pancake? Are you saying that he checked his back?
Of course I did, and there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign that the bullet had left the body at all.
What?
That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards. Which is exactly what I said about slicing him up. And I'm still none the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery?
It's almost as much of a mystery as how this jury was put together.
The mystery of where that bullet ended up is infuriating. Where's an expert when you need one?
You mean you? You're the surgeon. You're crazy. We have to press you again. Mr. Sholmes' surgeon is on the jury. I've experienced some coincidences recently, but this is ridiculous.
I'm as surprised as anyone.
But there's no question that Mr. Sholmes was shot.
Well, that's what the police told me when they brought him in.
How bad were his injuries, Doctor?
It was in a bad way. He lost a huge amount of blood, you know. And I suspect he was shot at quite close range, too. Because his skin was badly burnt around the point of entry.
weren't?
As I said, I flipped the fellow over and examined his back, but there was no sign of an exit wound. Which is why I thought I'd better locate the lug and pop it out.
And yet you say you found no bullet inside the patient.
Well, I wouldn't have done, would I? Because it's in the wall of the pawnbroker's. But how did it get there? I need someone to solve this mystery before it drives me to insanity. If only there was some expert in ballistics who could help, even if he looked extremely untrustworthy.
So we have a disappearing bullet on our hands. The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see him. I'm in for a busy day ahead. What do you mean you're in for a busy day?
Forgot to say, stop. Do excuse me, stop. I'm a communications officer. Stop.
A communications officer? Does that have something to do with sending telegrams?
Everything from personal messages written by members of the public to the latest news in the capital. I convert all messages into Morse code and tap it out to the entire world electronically.
To the entire world?
Thousands of miles of cable under the sea. Stop. Worldwide communication network. Stop. Information transmitted to and from all corners of the globe. Stop.
Ah, yes. She was getting equally worked up about radio waves or the like before, wasn't she?
I specialize in communicating information from government departments and newspaper offices.
I see.
I'm sure I shall have to wire the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine.
Let's just finish the trial first, shall we?
I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There's nothing I do not know about guns. Hold it!
I thought you were just a tourist.
Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
There's no way he's just a visiting tourist. So, you're a ballistics expert. Who knew?
I have much experience with guns.
Ah.
I have lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent bath of, blood of,
Extreme violent bloodbaths, perhaps?
Those. The extreme violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue.
Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue.
Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There's nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve.
He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure.
But, if possible, please, only in Russian language.
He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he?
No. Still, we should bear it in mind. He's our man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets. Van Zeeks has managed to convince everyone.
When you have eliminated the impossible, he said. But he hasn't.
If we're gonna fight back, we need more material. And we have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again. Alright, well first off, let's pull on that mystery thread. Let's pit you against Mr. You. Objection! Those two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Ha! Ha ha! Ha. They knew it's different this time, so they tweaked the dialogue a little bit.
Oh, a ballistics expert. Pitting, P-I-T-T.
On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, the bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6.
Hello, my name is Villain. Pleased to meet you.
This apparent contradiction in the facts that is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery?
I've seen very similar situation in Motherland. It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly. The snow was piling high on both sides of the road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds.
Mental note, don't ask too many questions.
I was shot from behind and I fell down in snow. And this situation was very similar to what I hear today from doctor. They could not find bullet in my body. And no sign of, how do you say, exit wound. Then where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side.
What?
One small piece, very sharp, broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looks just like bullet wound. Good gracious. Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me, and that is solution to mystery of disappearing bullet. But that doesn't answer the question at all. The shooting happened in a pawnbroker's shop, not some snowy mountain road in another country.
Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here.
Uno, where exactly was Hurley shot again?
Well, according to the report, in his stomach. Sort of around this area, I think.
Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt.
A pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that.
Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations.
What? Really? Doctor, where's the pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing?
Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may.
Lord Van Zees?
While I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination, I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom.
Sorry?
As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Ah, thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes's pouch. I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it?
Look at that. One of the files is broken and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded.
Exploded?
So, that night, the bullet from the Skulkin Brothers gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch.
And it was a glass file exploding that caused the fellow's injury. This bullet did not penetrate victim, but was deflected into wall of shop. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least. Though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered. At least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Thank you very much.
Glad I could help.
Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester this scruffy pouch as evidence.
Hurley's pouch isn't scruffy.
Sholmes's pouch has been entered in the court record.
Now, the summation examination. It would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion,
Before I do that, I just want to take a look at his pouch. Ooh.
These glass vials are full of Hurley's homemade potions.
Homemade?
Yes, like fingerprint powder to show up where people have touched things, and scent amplifying solution to intensify smell lingering on an object.
That's amazing.
They're all very easy to use. There's just one thing you have to be careful of. They're all very flammable.
Mr. Sholmes is a walking bomb. Either he's passionate about finding the truth or just oblivious to the dangers. It's really scorched badly just here.
Oh, the strap is broken, look.
This must be where the bullet hit then.
Let me see.
Oh shit, there's an actual bullet embedded in here. What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was, do you see it?
Ah! That's the Skulkin Brothers bullet!
What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windybanks that night.
We found exactly what that Joe was talking about. The third bullet. The third bullet!
It's time to press that juror again, I think. Yo, we have the third bullet. Sick. Well then, I already have my next thing. I don't care what you have to say next, Judge. Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, it's a new piece of evidence. Could be a valuable clue. You can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around, somehow. I'm sure of it. Don't worry, we already got it. Okay, you're the one with the 2 bullets thing. Press it! Get to the part where you demand proof. I can prove it! Third bullet is possible, and I can prove it. Allow me to show you the third bullet. Now let's examine it real quick. Ooh. This is the bullet that was fired from the Skulkin Brothers gun on the night of the incident.
Yes, so it turns out it never actually entered Hurley's body at all.
Thanks to the thick leather that pouch is wearing, it saved him.
Hurley's always lucky like that.
Well, considering what he had to go through in hospital, I wonder how lucky he really was.
Oh dear, poor Hurley.
Okay. Take that! Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windybank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
Oh, a hold it from him.
Hold it! What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet?
It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch.
What?
This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to hospital. And since then, it has been touched by no one.
Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin Brothers that night?
Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch.
But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print.
Ah! 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence.
Yes, that of Mr. Windybank and that belonging to the Skulkin Brothers.
An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each.
Ah! But that must mean...
That's right. You now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Damn it. We cannot and must not pass judgment. Ugh. Ugh. Order, order, order! While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter.
What?
Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once.
Iris is so tiny.
Witnesses. Governor! Were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A 3rd bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that?
Make of it, Gov? I don't make nothing of nothing of it.
Is it one of yours?
Go blimey, Gov, go blimey, not a chance.
In that case, did you have an accomplice?
What? What? Never, the Skulkin Brothers work alone. It's just the 2 of us, that's our trademark.
How soon we forget poor Sulky.
Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The 3rd bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it?
Lummy, that's an head scratcher.
Counsel for the defense.
Yes.
I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The 3rd bullet, and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came.
Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture. A picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this 3rd bullet tells us about the Skulkin Brothers. I'm just gonna go ahead and save, even though it's not showing me that, like, strikes are on the line, but... they had a secret accomplice. And it's probably that Jojo guy. It's gotta be Jojo guy. On that night at Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a 3rd man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present. Someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
Objection. Objection. An accomplice, you say? Pig swill. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations.
Well, one was cut short. It's not the whole thing.
Yet in all that time, there's been not a murmur of a 3rd man, if this apparently wraith-like being exists. Yet in all that time, there's not been...
God dang it.
Yet in all that time, there's been not a murmur of a 3rd man, if this apparently wraith-like being exists. The court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence, that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character.
The Skulkins are lying.
I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding?
Well, Counsel,
I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity even.
In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, the defense is... Even though I don't really know what's going on, I'm just gonna... Bluffing is the name of the game. Ace attorneys are all about bluffing. The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands.
so, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting.
I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference.
In that case, Counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene?
I'm just gonna review all the stuff that I have. Pawnbroker's ticket in the coat. This is a pawnbroker's ticket inside of the coat. Blood samples. This green blood is not known. That's probably my best ticket for the third guy. But who it is, I guess that's my way. It's the green blood with the music box disc thing, and then I can present the what's his face. All right, this is all I got, because it's the only place that has an unknown person in it, I think.
Take that!
Yep. The evidence is right here, in this portfolio.
By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of those blood samples proves the presence of a third intruder. Well, which one is it?
It was number 1.
Take that!
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar.
That's a bloodstain, my lord.
A bloodstain? Green blood. Curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature?
It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
By the great detective! New invention. Stop. Not yet appeared in stories. Stop. It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood to change its color.
Different elements of people's blood.
Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in the flash whose blood it is.
That's awful convenient and way too sophisticated, but okay. I'll bet that's pretty much impossible.
Oh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom. Stop. Very exciting. Stop.
As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windybank.
Ah, a striking blue.
Yes. So you see, the green color of this bloodstain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop.
Now hold fire there, young man. Could be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it?
No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windybank was killed.
By golly.
Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day.
And whose blood is it?
Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. The third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Objection! Are we gonna discount Herlock Sholmes? Because it could be him too, and I would like to rule out that possibility if possible.
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder?
Take that!
Benedict. The man's name is Eggert Benedict.
Eggert Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, Counsel?
He paid a visit to Windybank's pawnbroker on the afternoon before the incident took place.
When the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession.
That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Eggert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force.
Broker? Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, the article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once.
Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs too.
Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc.
Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. In the interest of being thorough, I asked Windybank for a print showing the fellow.
Oh, nice.
Taken from one of his red-handed recorders at Gubbins'.
Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Windybank that morning.
And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice?
Well, Mr. Skulkin?
Never seen the geezer before in my life.
On me life, Guff, on me life. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice.
Yes, and I can.
Then show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is.
This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm gonna drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom. Isn't it the blood on the disc? To match it? Pretty sure.
Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel?
Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet.
Take that!
Yes, it worked. As I mentioned before, the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Mr. Windybanks. Did I read that right? On the afternoon of the day, okay, I did read that right.
Which is when the aforementioned Eggert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no?
That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred.
But of course, sir. Here's a dish for you. Very well. And I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style.
Wait a minute. That disc is mine.
That. Oh, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal.
Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions cause Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now.
Goodness, a blood stain, is it?
My assistant and I have just analyzed the blood stain here in this very courtroom.
Using my trusty fogger gun.
Yes. And we added the results to this portfolio.
I say.
It's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar.
The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Egbert Benedict, who was in Windybanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night.
So there was someone else there. Look at those two brothers now. They're sweating buckets. Boy, who are you talking about? It's boiling in here.
My lord, it's the opinion of the defense that Mr. Egbert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify.
It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
Objection! This has gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Herlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection or some such.
Quit ragging on a 10-year-old's writing, man.
And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court in the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So, the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color.
Well... Every time it takes me by surprise. I'm caught off guard.
And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it.
Alright, let's all take blood samples right now.
Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction a load of rubbish? Don't know. I mean, he's a great detective. What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with it.
With that, I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice did I have?
I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the Summation Examination.
She just calls him Father Christmas. That's awesome.
In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it?
Good grief. What did you just say, young girl?
And in a Summation Examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now.
Yes, she's right.
Young lady, you have quite the devious mind.
It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something?
Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with.
Iris Wilson, Sharpshooter.
After that shrewd precis of a situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leadings in this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I am sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Just barely. Giddy giddy safe. Yeah. Eat it, jerks.
2 call guilty and 4 call not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination. For dramatic effect, it will never not be 2 guilty and 4 not guilty.
Objection.
Objection! My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zieks, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. Ugh. Ugh.
They don't do enough with his mouth or face during that reaction shot. Or if they don't do that, then the text shouldn't be some big arg thing like they put down. There's a disconnect there. I don't like it.
Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible.
What?
The name the gentleman gave for himself, Eggert Benedict, is quite clearly false.
I don't believe it. Just when I managed to prove the man was there that night.
Could I say something? Who says it?
Is it Sato? Is she still here?
Who was that, please? Who spoke?
It was me, my lord. Dang it.
I want Sato back.
Juror number 5?
What have you to say, madam?
If possible, Inspector.
Eh? Me, ma'am?
I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman is shown.
Oh, right, yes. This one, you mean? Of Mr. Benedict.
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind.
Juror number 5, you don't mean to say you know this man?
Yes, I know him.
What?
No. Good gracious! Order, order, order! Juror number 5. How on earth?
I'm a communications officer. Stop.
As we can clearly see.
The gentleman in the photograph is... Stop. Also a communications officer. Stop. He works in my office. Stop.
What?
A very talented operator, in fact. Stop. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away on the telegraph. Stop.
This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right.
I suppose we all imagine the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night.
Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong.
If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zieks, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste, as your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson. Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbroker on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m.
Nice. Alright. We made some good headway today. Save your current progress. Heck yeah, buddy. Yay! Alright. I think we're only 2 parts away from the end of the game. I hope to get to them soonish. The earliest it could possibly be, of course, is tomorrow. But, I don't want to commit to that right away. I might have some other things. But yeah, if not tomorrow, sometime within the week, I'm pretty sure I'll make sure to make some time and put this puppy to bed. Maybe Friday at the latest, I want to say. I hope it doesn't get any further than that. But yeah, if you've been watching along, as always, thank you so much. I hope today was a lot more smooth than yesterday. Holy moly. Or it wasn't, was it yesterday? 2 days ago? Whenever. Yeah, I'm so embarrassed when I fall asleep snoozing around because I can't navigate maps and I forget what they're saying because I'm too sleepy. But this time I was a little more present. Huzzah. Alright, everybody. Everyone have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. Just as an aside, yeah, just stay safe and stay away from people who aren't acting safe. There's a lot of bad stuff happening out there. Don't want to overwhelm them hospitals, alright? Alright. See you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Until next time. Auf Wiedersehen.